E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna Guinois, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Guinois Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. Today is Friday, Jim, and we are talking about women in leadership. And, you know, we're going to talk about a few women who have some businesses that are amazing, but we're also going to talk about advantages, challenges, and opportunities, as well as how women are shaping the future of business.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're so glad to be here, ladies and gentlemen, because our show is proudly brought to you by the 6-Minute Webinar, and we're just honored to be here. I had to share something funny with you. I got a letter, and you can see this from Baylor Scott and White. That's a hospital there, and doctor's report, and it says, "Congratulations, Jim. If you're reading this, it means you're still alive." Anyway. It's Friday. It's a wonderful day. Friday is a fabulous day because for a lot of people, it's the beginning of the weekend, obviously, and people don't have to work. But most importantly, it's a day. Every day should be a fabulous day in your life to give thanks. And
absolutely.
And for all of the men and women out there who have been a blessing to others, yeah, I just got to salute you because today we're going to be taking a look at some ladies who have been trailblazers, who have paved the roads. I mean, they have flat dab, chopped down the trees and went through the woods.
Right. Right. Well, you know, before we get into that, you know, we're going to go into our national day. But Jim, I want to talk about with our new fall lineup, ladies and gentlemen, we are also doing a Wild Card Wednesday. Now, what that's going to entail is on a Wild Card Wednesday, we want to hear from you. We want to hear fun things or businesses that you've done, anything that's applicable to our show and our fall lineup, whether it's pets, whether it's, you know, your children doing amazing things for their community, giving back. That's what we want to hear. So I put our
email address.
Thank you. Just went blank.
It's a new word they invented about 5 minutes ago. We're still learning how to spell it.
Still learning how to work it around my teeth. Anyway, inspiration at e360tv.com. And we want to hear from you for our Wild Card Wednesday.
You're exactly right, Donna, because our show, you know, people ask me, what's your show about? And I said, well, we're just real people putting on a real show for real other people, because that's who our audience is. Our audience is not necessarily celebrities or bigwigs. Our audience is everyday people. Right. And people just like us who make mistakes, who forgive each other and say, it's okay. You know, I mean, you made a mistake. Know what? You know, no big deal. It's kind of like what Emerson says. When you build relationships with people, especially in business, they will do two things. Number one, they will forgive you when you make a mistake.
Right.
Number two, they respect you and know you enough that you're the real deal that they will refer you. That's priceless. And that's what we built our show around. It's just around, you know, just honesty, integrity, and Donna,
absolutely.
And Donna snorting every now and then whether she needs it or not.
Well, and our Wild Card Wednesday, folks, is really about celebrating you.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. And so we want to give this Wild Card Wednesday to whoever is wanting to tell their story or the story of somebody else that they know. Again, send it in to us at inspiration at e360tv.com. And one of our staff will get it to us and we will go over it. Make sure you put your contact information in there.
Yeah. hmm Yeah, because I'm sure you'd like to get a word from us. Say, hey, we're going to be talking about you, and we're going to be sharing
Yeah,
some information about you. If you have a 30-second to 1 minute video, please send us the link to that. We'll take a look at it and make sure it's an MP4 form so we can upload it to the studio. We can do a plug and play during the broadcast. Just a
right.
nicety to know. And this could be on your pets. Now, you guys out there cannot send anything negative about your mother-in-law. Okay, we got our standards around here. Besides, Friday's women in leadership, so behave.
Right. So let's jump into our national today, Jim.
Excuse me. Okay.
Well, today is September 23rd, and it
Mm-hmm.
is the first day of autumn.
Mm.
Oh, yum. So, I love this. It says here that the cool air of autumn approaches, welcomes a season that needs warm clothing and hearty meals. Well, in Arizona, I promise you, we don't need warm clothing till about Thanksgiving.
Yeah, if that.
Right, right.
Usually it's around about January. I've been up there, I mean, it's
Yeah,
it can,
end of December,
mhm, yeah.
but I'll tell you what, the thing about autumn that I have always adored is going back to the hearty meals.
Yes.
I
Oh.
just it's just too bloody hot here
Mm.
to do a lot of cooking in the oven during the
Hmm.
summertime. So,
Yeah.
I plan my meals all around the heat.
Hmm. There you go. There you go. And that's so important because you're right about a good, warm,
Mm,
hearty meal. It's just something about it. It just warms you inside and out. And
yep,
it's just, my mother used to make vegetable soup,
I make a lot of that.
and
Beef
Evelyn
vegetable
does
soup.
too. And
Mhm.
I love homemade soups.
I do too. I'll tell you
Oh
what
my
I
goodness.
love making too, of course, is chili and broccoli cheese soup. Broccoli cheddar cheese soup is amazing. And then, of course, one of my all time favorites is potato soup.
Hmm. Can I ask you a question?
What time's dinner?
No. What's for dinner? Folks, we're invited over to Donna's house right after the show. Just kidding.
Right?
It's kind of like remember that Stevie Ray Vaughan song, a house is a rocking, don't bother knocking. We're all going
Right.
to Donna's house.
Little food.
There
Little
you
food.
go. It's really a wonderful. I tell you, food is just, and that's why meals are so important with the family because
Mhm.
sharing is a wonderful thing, and especially when you're sharing, great food like that. My goodness gracious.
Yum.
Anyway, today is also, and I have a lot of respect for folks that have this ability. I know probably more people can learn this craft or this art more so than they do, but this is sign language, being able to communicate with people.
Mhm.
The first sign language in history was developed, they say, around 60 AD. And it was first used according to the first chapter of Luke's gospel. It says the angel Gabriel rendered to Zacharias and John the Baptist's father speechless due to his disbelief. So there was a need for that to happen. But the very first class that was conducted, people teaching about sign language, was in 685 A.D. This is when John of Beverley, the Bishop of York, he was teaching a deaf individual to talk in sign language. And it is considered a miracle, and what he subsequently canonized, and it became popular, and it took off from that. It was in 1760 that we had our first deaf school. So it's really amazing how people created that. And this is the type of trailblazers that we're going to be talking about with ladies. They had vision, they see needs, and they're able
Right.
to, go the extra mile. So the reason we're going to share this about ladies with you ladies out there and you men, is to inspire you to have vision. When you see a need, step it up to the plate.
Absolutely. Well, Jim, today is also one of my favorites, National Baker Day.
Mm.
So the last name Baker is of Old English origin, and it was
Mm.
formed from the words bakery and something else.
Mhm.
In Middle English, it also comes from the term of bacan, which means to
Mhm.
dry by heat or to bake. It originated before the 8th century and
Mhm.
was primarily used as an occupational name for people who baked bread or bricks. So
Mhm.
during the Middle Ages, most households baked their bread, so that popular belief is that the name was used to refer to the owner of the communal oven and
Mhm.
who was in charge of baking bread for a community or the village. Well, it's obviously moved a long way since then, right?
Mhm.
Um, Baker is also the first name in the US through the popularity level is low. Before 2018, it didn't make the list of 1,000 most popular male names. In
Hmm.
2018, it finally made the list, ranking it at 712.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure how that they get, you know, the name in with baking bread, but
Mhm.
that is, of course, one of my favorite things to do is
Mm.
to bake breads,
Oh
bake
yeah.
cookies, bake cakes, pies, you name
Mm.
it.
Mm. I love homemade buttermilk biscuits, and that's one thing that I used to make. That Lisa wants me to make, and she's coming up this weekend. So tomorrow morning, or she won't be here tomorrow morning. She'll be here Sunday morning. We're gonna have some homemade buttermilk biscuits. And if you're
So,
watching the show, Lisa, just be prepared. Just
and
you can wake
everybody
up.
can go to breakfast at Jim's house on Sunday.
That's right. That's right. You bet. And it's one of the things that this is also another thing, and I want to talk about this a little bit. Today is National Apple Cider Vinegar Day. What a wonderful product that is!
Mhm.
My goodness gracious, I have dove deeper into that since my heart condition and all that I went through. And I guess I'll call it a hard episode because it was an episode.
Well,
But also too, do your homework out there if you have heart issues. And one of
yeah.
the things I've been looking at too is dandelion. If you got concerns about your heart, I would just simply humbly say, take a serious look at dandelion, and I'm going to leave it right there. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
And yeah, and today also, my goodness gracious, I know Donna's going to talk about one or two more things here. But I want to mention this is also National Go With Your Gut Day.
Boy, is
Mm.
that important, Jim.
Yes, ma'am. Mm.
It is our energetic compass, if you will,
Hmm.
right? That tells us wrong from right.
Right?
That it's don't do it, do it. And I can tell you that the times in my life that I have not gone with my gut feeling,
Hmm.
it was a disaster.
Yeah.
It was a disaster.
Yeah. And that's like one of the things that about truth. See, truth is always stranger than fiction could ever be. And the one thing I love about truth is that when you hear it deep down inside, you know it's the truth. There's just something about that. And go with your gut feeling. I mean, because
Mhm.
goodness gracious, because so many times when we get emotional, who was it? This just flashed in my mind. Who was it that said that there was more gold mined inside the minds of men than ever came out of a hole? I
Right.
don't remember who said
I
that, but
don't
it's so
remember
true.
either.
It's a classic example of how we can get emotionally out of control. And that's why a lot of ladies have the common sense with their feet on the ground. They got that inner gut feeling that I don't know about that. Oh yeah, we can go up there. We can, we'll chisel through that, honey. When you believe that thing is just going to bleed liquid gold out of it.
Right.
But you can't live with us. You can't live without us.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Well, today is also National Great American Pot Pie Day, Jim.
Mm. So I'm going to be baking. She's going to be making all these pies. Between the two, we're going to have a royal buffet.
That's right. That's right. So, who doesn't love a good, warm, yummy chicken pot pie or a beef pot pie? Ah, Now I am hungry.
Yeah, I'm starting to drool like a hound dog at a picnic.
Right? Oh, well, and it's also, Jim, National Native American Day.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I've had the honor and the privilege of serving with many, not many, but a few of Native Americans, and they're just a wonderful people. They really truly are, and I have a lot of respect for them. I have a lot of admiration for them. I have I have the honor of saying that they are still part of my military family. That's
Right?
huge with me,
Right?
and I never will forget the one thing that we always called him Chief. I don't remember what tribe. Yes, I do. He was with the Arapaho tribe, or from the Arapaho tribe, and he said one of the biggest insults that someone can do to a Native American is to say, well, in my bloodline somewhere, my great 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 grandmother, she was half Cherokee or something like that. And they do that. It might be true, but I when I first met him, I said, we can't even trace our family history outside the county.
Right?
We really couldn't, because back in those days, people just kept records in Bibles, and a Bible gets handed down to one person, and eventually, disintegrates or gets lost, whatever. But we really couldn't, and so I just up front with him, because he said that's and that always stuck with me. That's one of the biggest insults that you can say to a Native Americans. That I think somewhere back there, I had a grandmother or great 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 grandmother that was half this or half that.
Mhm.
Don't even go there.
Right.
And that's a good lesson, because we accept people. It's just look at everybody. We're brother and sister by different mothers. That's
Yep.
good enough for me.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to
Absolutely.
get off my soapbox and be quiet. How about that?
Well, we're going to end this with, and I guess it's appropriate that I talk about this for, 45 seconds or so. It
Mhm.
is National Redhead Appreciation Day.
Hmm.
Okay, so redheads possess the rarest hair shade with only 4% of the world's population.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes. And, there's all kinds of nicknames for us redheads: Ginger, Carrot Top. I've been called Red most of my life.
Cinnamon.
Yeah. But, it's also said that redheads have an extremely fiery temper, which, I think that just depends on the redhead. Uh,
Depends on the individual dealing with the redhead, too.
right. It depends on what's coming out of the mouth of the individual talking to the redhead.
Some people can fire anybody's rocket, whether you're blonde or what.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So those are just some of our fun national todays. But Jim, I think it's
Yes, ma'am.
time that we dive into women in leadership.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It truly, truly is, because when you think about women in leadership, they're not afraid to make a stand in what they believe in.
No.
And women have this unique ability. They really do. They have this unique ability of, if they believe in something and they know that the leadership of that company, or what they're trying to do, is the right thing to do, in their minds, it's the only thing to do.
Right.
They got kind of like binders on them. And us guys, we're more, how can I say it, Donna? We're more like, in other words, the winds of adversity can get us to change our direction a little bit, but women are more die hard to stick in there and tough it out. That's what I'm
Right.
trying to say.
Right.
And you really do. You got that unique gift and ability.
Well,
That's why they put up with us guys.
I think that the passion
Mhm.
for us
Yeah.
women, we have a passion for things that is absolutely uncontested,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
right? It is uncontested that when we are passionate about something,
Hmm.
it's right there.
Yeah.
It is right there. And it shows, folks. It
Hmm.
shows.
Oh
And
yeah.
when we talk about it, our eyes light up. You can hear it
Hmm.
in the inflection in our voice.
Hmm.
And it
Yeah.
just emanates as energy coming from our body.
Hmm. That's the way you were designed, and that's a
Absolutely.
perfect balance, really, because guys can go out and do this, guys can go out that, but a lady, a woman, she wants a home, she wants a nest, she
Mhm.
wants things inside of her world loved and protected.
Right.
And she has zero tolerance for anything that doesn't fit in that realm.
Boy, isn't that the truth? And
Yeah,
at
so
least
you
for me,
guys, you guys that get off work and you don't go home you're supposed to, and you stop at a bar and you're spending your money in there. Rest assured, when you get home, you're going to do some hard time in the hacienda because you've earned that right, brother. And I don't feel sorry for you, but
well,
really, that.
I think the older we get, the more
Mhm,
we are also in tune
mhm.
with what is the proper balance for us in our life.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right?
Mm,
So, in my home, in my world, and we've talked about this before,
mhm.
especially in my home, it's my sanctuary, right?
Yes.
It's everything right here is my sanctuary. So, whoever walks through that front door is absolutely trusted.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
live in the integrity that I need to be surrounded with.
Mhm. Right, right. Because if you can't go home and enjoy peace, love, and comfort, where are you going to go?
Right. And why would you bring somebody who doesn't fit
Oh,
in your integrity, right?
hmm,
Into how you are for yourself? Why
hmm,
would you bring somebody into your business or your home
hmm,
who isn't a fit? Because it's going to gnaw at you, right?
hmm,
It's just going to chaff. It's not going to work.
hmm. One of the things, too, that women do, they are a huge economic power. Now, let me give you a classic example for us guys, okay? Uh, Take a man and his wife in a car dealership. You know the way the guy is. The guy says, "Well, this is what I want. This is what they're arguing about the path, the price, and all that. And if that salesman asks that man, how much a month can you afford? The very first thing he's going to do is turn his head
Look at the wife.
and look at his wife because she's
Yep.
the financial advisor. She's the one that buys the groceries, pays the rents, keeps the roof on
Yep.
the house and all that because he does not have a foggy clue. And advertisers out there, if you got a business and you're not advertising and recognizing the power of the economic, the one that controls the purse strings,
Right.
I feel sorry for you because you just don't understand the value that these ladies bring to the party. If they
Well,
like you, trust you, and believe in you, they will buy from you.
absolutely. And I'm sure I'm not alone, but I can tell you how much my bills are every month. I can literally off the top of my head list those
Mhm.
suckers.
Yeah.
And if you were to ask my husband, he'd be like, I don't know, ask Donna.
uh, Guilty as charged. That's all I'm going to say. Can I
Right?
plead the fifth? But
Oh
women are
my,
still underrepresented and unappreciated in a lot of key fields. They really are.
right.
And there's a there's a number of industries that are showing trends of growing the female workforce in sectors, and also recognize them for who they are, what they do, what they bring to the party, and that's in the fields of finance and engineering and tech. And when it mentions about finance, we just talked about how the ladies know how much they
Right.
can afford, how much money's going out. So why would they not take full advantage of that
Well,
in a business, in the industry?
absolutely. Right now, in this article, it says that an increasing number of
Hmm,
well known organizations like IBM,
hmm,
General Motors, and Mandela's International
hmm.
are appointing female CEOs.
Yes.
The trend towards women in leadership positions seems to be on the rise.
Hmm,
In fact, there are more women running Fortune 500 businesses today than at any point in the
hmm,
63-year history of the
hmm.
Fortune 500.
Mm.
So that tells you right there. And
That's
right, when I was growing up,
mm.
most women didn't work, Jim.
Oh yeah. Oh
Mom
yeah.
stayed at home, took care of the house and the kids.
Mhm.
And, and my mother knew that that was a luxury. But I can tell you too that, you know what, she knew how to trim the fat.
Yeah.
So I came by it very honestly.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
I am not a I'm not frivolous. I buy what I need to buy. I am probably a little bit odd in the fact that I hate going shopping for clothes. Only go when I have to.
Mhm.
Only buy shoes when I have to. Drives me absolutely insane.
Mhm.
So, my husband's really grateful in that
Mhm.
opportunity that
Yeah.
I'm not one of those. But we are on the rise, folks, and this
Yes.
is this is huge. Think about
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
For those of you who are at home and say, "Well, gee, I'm only a housewife." Oh, no, 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 you're not.
Uh-uh.
No, you're not. Let's digest this for a second.
Mhm.
You are you do the laundry, you do the shopping, you pay the bills, you do the cooking, you do the cleaning, you are the caretaker of your children. Okay. So, right there are six things
Mhm.
that you do
You're the
that are
CEO of the house.
right, that are six different things
Mhm.
that if you went out and worked and had to hire somebody in your home to do all of that, you would have to hire six different businesses.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the wonderful things that I'm glad, Donna, you mentioned that about the CEOs, the women on the rise and all that. A lot of us remember back in the 90s and early 2000s, for some reason, the stupid bug bit a lot of Fortune 500 companies. They would bring in this person from, and I'm just going to talk about industries, and if it happens to fit somebody, it happens to fit somebody. They would bring in someone that's from the electronic industry and put them in the trucking industry as a CEO and pay them all this big money. And then case after case after case after case, 6 months, a year or two later, they got to turn around and give this person a lot of money just to get them rid of them because they ran the thing in the ground. And that's a clear case of people not having the specialized knowledge. Just
Right.
because someone took this company up in electronics, and they're going to try to do the same thing in the trucking industry. It happened in multiple industries. And me and a friend of mine we were in business, we were business associates, we worked together on many projects. We just left business, and I'd call them and say, "Hey man, they could have hired me for half price." you
Well,
know?
and that's true because
Mhm.
I have owned, in another life, owned a trucking company, and
Mhm.
I can tell you that it is its own animal.
Oh yeah.
When I was setting up the computer, all the bookwork for it,
Mhm.
I was here in Arizona on vacation, and my father was helping me. And now my father was an extremely intelligent man, had of course, he had his doctorate degree in psychology, but his minor was in accounting.
Mhm.
And he says, "Well, we're all done here." And I looked at him and I started laughing. I said, "Oh, we're not even close to done." I said, "This chart of accounts goes on a while." And he said, "What do you mean?" And I started listing all the other things that had to be in there for the chart of accounts for trucking. And he looked at me, he said, "Well, I'll be damned. I never thought that there was that much to do within a trucking industry that there's not in the normal chart of accounts."
Mhm.
And I said, "Well,
Yes.
specialized, Dad."
Mhm. Let's take things up just one more notch about women in business. And this is something that you ladies out there need to step up to the plate. Uh, Glassdoor is a company that did a survey on salary negotiations.
Hmm.
And they found that 68% of the women accepted the salary that was offered
Right.
without any questions. And nearly half of the men surveyed, they would negotiate before accepting the position. And that negotiation may not be in dollars, it could be in time off, it could be in a company
Right.
car or something like this, or maybe a home office where you can they will pay you, two or three, $400 a month for you to use your own home, your
Right.
electricity, your air conditioning, all of that because, hey, is office space free? That's a home
No.
office. So don't be afraid to negotiate that. Don't be afraid to
Well,
step out or at
and
least ask the question.
Absolutely. And it also bears a moment to talk about understanding your worth.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I honestly think, I look back in my life, Jim,
Hmm. Hmm.
as a young woman, and I don't believe I valued my worth.
I don't think any of us did, Donna.
Right.
We
And so,
just,
what I'm saying here is
mhm,
think about what you're bringing to
yeah.
that job,
Hmm.
right? Think about all the different experiences and the thing that you can do. And so if they come up and they talk about a certain salary position and you don't
Hmm.
think it's enough, say, I think that this needs to be discussed for a moment
Hmm. Yeah.
because I feel right now I'm being undervalued.
Yeah. And there's many ways you can phrase that too. You can just
Sure.
say, in addition to the salary, is there a possibility of having when I work at home to be compensated for my expenses there? Because that's a legitimate expense. If you go rent an office somewhere, they're not going to turn the lights on
Right.
for you and give you free Wi-Fi and all that. I mean, really.
Absolutely.
And another thing, Donna, when it comes to and this is advice for men too. When Donna hit a good point about knowing your own self worth, walk in there. If you're going for a job or position, or if you're dealing with something that's unpleasant, walk in there with the confidence. And your attitude should be this: thank you that I have this opportunity. Thank
Hmm.
you that I have this problem. Because evidently, if you gave it to me, I must be the most qualified person for it. So walk in there with that confidence and don't worry about the outcome. Because
Right.
if the job falls through, or if the problem is, you cannot fix, it has nothing to do with you. It
Absolutely.
really doesn't. It's a learning curve for you to go on down the pathway of life to a better thing. We've all heard that little hinges open big doors and all that,
Hmm.
and that every seed of adversity has a seed of a greater benefit. If that's true, that's a principle. And,
Absolutely.
and so embrace that. Don't let it beat you up, is what I'm saying. And
Right.
have the confidence, because that's what women leaders do. They really do. They have confidence.
Well, this article, this next part I want to dive into
Okay.
quickly is advantages of women in business. A diverse workforce is an innovative workforce.
Mhm.
Diversity, from gender diversity to culture, age, and race, has been shown to foster creativity and
Mhm.
innovation.
Mhm.
From Price Waterhouse Cooper to Disney and L'Oreal,
Mhm.
organizations across industries are seeking to prioritize and benefit from a diverse and inclusive work environment.
Mhm.
Men and women will inevitably have different experiences and backgrounds, which shape their approach to businesses. Challenging each other and collaborating with people who think differently can breed creativity and promote the innovative ideas that push organizations forward.
Mm.
So it says right here,
Absolutely.
this is by Tessa, if I'm pronouncing her last name, this is a quote, Tessa Maziasek, Associate
Yeah.
Dean,
Messiah Zek.
Associate Dean, Holt International Business School. She says,
Mhm.
even with the very best of intentions, we have a tendency to gravitate towards people who are like us. It
Yes.
takes a real leader to say, I need someone to challenge me. That challenge
Mm.
can spawn new creativity, innovation, and growth.
Mm.
Now, Jim, we've talked about this quite a bit on the show. You and I are completely, our integrity is the same, but
Mhm.
we have different thought process, we have different talents, we
Mhm.
have different ways of seeing business,
Mhm.
and we talk about it a lot.
Mhm.
I can't tell you, I don't think, Jim, has there ever been a time before we've opened up for a show that we've not talked shop at least for a minute,
Mhm. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, where I fall short, Jim comes in strong. And where Jim falls short, I come in strong.
Mhm.
we see things differently, and that creates a
Mm.
better product all
Yeah.
the way around.
Yeah, it does. Because sometimes, I'm focused on something, I can't see something, and Donna say something, like, yeah, that's right, and
And
vice
vice versa.
versa and all
Absolutely.
that. But if you notice, we do talk shop a little bit before we go live, and no time do we say, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're so happy to be here. Yeah, my goodness, because it's a good yin and yang, and in anything thing that you do, always have the capacity to listen to others. That
Right.
is critical. I'm trying to remember the person that I read about, and he was I think it was CEO or president of a company, and he made it a habit when he went out to the different places. They were in manufacturing. He says, the very first person I want to speak with is the person that sweeps the floor, the person who cleans up the offices. It goes around because that person hears everything. And I want to talk to that person first. And I want to get a gut feeling from that person. And the point of it is don't ever forget where you came from. And when it comes to leadership, I think women do a great job of appreciating people that they can depend upon. They recognize that. Now I know there's men and women leaders who are not good leaders. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the cream of the
Right.
crop here.
Right.
We're talking about the kind of person you want to be, whether you're a male or female.
Right.
But the women leaders, I tell you right now, they can set a very clear path. The one thing that I like about women, because some guys, they don't care if they leave what's called a rough wake behind them.
Right.
And that's a naval term. If you're going down, if you're on a boat, you want to see a smooth wave behind you. That's called a wake, and that's what women prefer. And men sometimes they think, well, it's kind of good to upset the apple cart, and they can create more problems than they solve like that. But women have
Absolutely.
that unique ability to say, hey, let's get organized. Let's get this thing heading the right way. Let's leave a clean wake behind us. That's the kind of leadership that women want to be known for. And they have that
Right.
ability. They
Right.
really do.
Well, this is a study that was done in 2016. So obviously it's not super, super current, but it talks about how women excel at soft skills needed for business leadership. Soft skills and emotional intelligence may prove a key competitive advantage for women in business. In 2016, a study published by the global consulting firm Hay Group found that women outperform men 11 of 12 key emotional intelligence competencies. These include emotional self awareness, empathy, conflict management, adaptability, and teamwork, all essential skills for effective leadership in the workplace. Women represent huge economic power and offer important
Mm.
consumer insight,
Mm.
right?
They really do. And I was thinking as you were reading that or sharing that, I should say, uh, how many people have you known, men and women? And I was thinking of a lady that I know, a good friend of mine. She got tired of not being paid what she was worth, and she went out and started her own company right in her house on the internet using her laptop. And I'll tell you right now, she is very well paid for her efforts, and that takes a lot of courage and a lot of belief in yourself, because entrepreneurship is a great path for anyone to be
Mhm.
able to demonstrate their true leadership.
Absolutely. Well, and I think if we could touch on this for a moment, Jim, I think even though that women talk, that we have a soft, as the article says, we have soft skills for communication, emotional intelligence, if you will, and empathy. I think it's also important to note that that does not mean that women are afraid to I don't want to say talk back, but to stand up for what is right and just. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
I can pull out that mom tone. Anyone who knows me knows that when my voice drops, it goes clear down to my toes, and when it goes there, it's usually soft, but that's also an indication of where we're at. So, women are no pushovers by any stretch of the imagination.
Absolutely. And when it comes to women in being in charge of their own business and stepping up to the plate, having the courage of it, it just impresses me so much because COVID changed a lot of people's lives. I mean, this lockdown, all that, there was a lot of people was out of work, and that's when a lot of men and women both says, "Hey, I'm going to become my own entrepreneur." And the ones who have been successful and the ones who have built, you hear the word tribe. I personally don't subscribe to the word tribe. Donna and I know she's real big on that, and I am too. We're talking about build a marketing relationship
Right.
with your clients. As we said earlier, they're the ones that will forgive you when you make a mistake or you forget something, and they're also the ones that will recommend you.
Right.
Because if you fall into that mindset that you want to have a tribe, that means you got a bunch of followers,
Right.
and that's going to require good leadership. But building a marketing relationship with many people who can refer you outside of the tribe, that's the secret sauce that you're looking for.
Well, and women are really underestimated, as we've said, Jim, because it is estimated. You ready for this? Here's some numbers that'll blow your socks off. Women contribute in excess of 20 trillion in consumer spending every year, and representing a bigger growth market than China and India combined.
Wow.
Women also account for 85% of consumer purchases. That's huge, and we talked about that a little bit, I do probably 95% of the purchasing in our household.
Same here. Same here.
And it isn't that, he's incapable of it. It's just, these are my strong suits. And so he knows I'm better at the finances. I'm better at what needs to be purchased and what doesn't. And if I need him to purchase something, I usually give him a text on the way home and say, "Hey, baby, can you pick that up for me?"
Yeah.
Right.
Evelyn and I, we've been married 51 years, and she kind of like knows, she knows what I like.
Right.
I'm an old stick in the mud, I'll admit it, because I like certain products. I don't care what comes out new. I mean, this is what I've used. This is what I'm comfortable with, and she knows, and she'll buy it. Yeah, I mean, like deodorant. I use a certain brand of deodorant, and like I told her, I said, in case fruit flies start following me around, I don't see any need to change.
Right.
I really don't, and because the beauty in that is that she can just take a look at my supplies. I'll put it like that, and I was talking about one area here.
Right.
And she knows when to replace it and all that. And I never have to worry about that. And she might do 99%.
That's my husband.
Yeah, she might be doing 99% of the buying in there, because if I see something that I like, I'll buy it online or something like that, or pick it up at a store. But most of the buying, it's up to her. And the thing about it, she will share with me some of her way of thinking when it comes to buying stuff. And, she just wants to brief me, and that's all, or share that information with me. And it's good enough because, her judgment is so sound,
right,
so rock solid. I mean, it just,
God bless her.
Yeah, because some of us men, when we get buying decisions, hey, honey, I've been thinking, and that's the first red flag right there.
That you started to think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then you come up with this, men come up with this sales pitch on why we really need this, or I should have this, or I'm entitled to this. And she's the poor one struggling, trying to say, I gotta cover the bill on this here.
Right.
And I remember a good friend of mine, true story. He ran a business, and he was all labor, all, he did all the work on the trucks and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked, and I was there, and he asked his wife, he says, well, how come, where did all the money go? He says, what happened to all that money go? She says, I'm paying bills with it. That's why I'm saying no.
Right.
And of course, that was something he didn't have a clue of. And
right.
That's very true. That's very common for us guys. We're not as, we just don't know the numbers off the top of my head, as Donna said earlier. I mean, that's just your natural, that's just the way you're wired, you know, really.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I'm playing with Dixie here. If you see me goofing around, she's playing with me. I'll say that.
It's like clockwork here.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, this is kind of interesting, and how a little bit of information on, and we don't have a lot of time left in our show, folks, but a brief history of women in business. Now, this is kind of a mind blower here. So, of course, people are unfamiliar, really, with the fact that the history of female entrepreneurship reaches back far, far in the past. Mm-hmm. The first well-documented businesswoman can be traced back as far as 1870 BC to the city of Assur in northern Iraq. The women at the time often contributed to vast trading networks that flourished in the region, showing that business was not exclusive to men.
That's huge, Donna.
Yeah, 1870. I did not know that.
I didn't either. You remember here a while back, Emerson was on our show. He's our director of marketing, Emerson Brantley. And Emerson was talking about, I can't remember the guy's name, but he does these micro loans in these third world countries. And he mainly only loans money to women. He said, because men, come on, guys, we got to own this. Got to own up to this. You give a guy $100 in some of these countries, third world countries, he'll go out and he'll buy whiskey. He may gamble a little bit, or he may visit a lady. Let me put it like that. But what's so unique about these micro lending, they give these ladies here like $100. And that really means something to them. Their integrity is intact, their pride, because someone believed in them enough to loan them $100. And these folks don't have anything. And the women would go out and they would buy material that they could work on and create different things that they could sell. And guess what? Over 95% of the loans loaned to those women got paid back in full, because they knew if they pay it back, they could get some more money. And that's just, think about that. Donna, think about it's kind of hard for us to think about anybody growing up in a third world country being born and raised in America. Okay. Right. We're spoiled. We just are. And many ways we're weak and we're soft. But think about how a person would feel in a third world country that doesn't have anything. They don't have any, maybe running water or lights. And someone that they don't even know would have the faith and believe in them to give them $100. Right. That just, I mean, they probably have trouble sleeping that first night. Oh, with joy and jubilee. I mean,
well, and being credit worthy, that's huge.
Oh, yeah.
I know I take an immense interest in my credit, in my finances. I was talking to a money person the other day, and happened to be male, and it kind of hit me the wrong way, because we were talking about the stock market and interest rates fluctuating so much here in the U.S. And he actually said to me, Jim, oh, I see you pay attention to the stock market and the interest rate. And I was a little, you're hiding your face because you already know. And I'm like, hell yes, we're talking about my money. Of course I pay attention. I'm not green off the farm, you know. Good Lord.
Oh my. And I tell you something. Some of these guys, they
Not too
never
bright.
learn. I wouldn't need, you can't even imagine someone being that slow in between the ears to make that comment to you about, oh, so you're familiar. You can spell money, M-O-N-E-Y.
Right. Right. I can actually add and subtract. I can go with what's a loss and what's a gain.
Get out of here. You
I
kidding?
know. Look at me all bad. Yeah. And this same person, we were having a conversation, and we were talking about it was about some of my investments. And I said, I want you to understand where I've come from. And so I started to explain, when I was a single mom, what I was doing. And he goes, oh, yeah, that's real good. A lot of people. And he just tried to mow over me.
Oh.
And that's when my voice dropped. And I was telling my husband about this. And I said, Edgy, I said, my voice dropped to my feet. And he started laughing. Yeah. He said, oh, I bet that's good. Because I literally said to this person, excuse me, don't interrupt me again.
Yeah.
And man, it was E.F. Hutton quiet.
Oh,
because again, women are powerful. Ladies, listen, we are powerful beyond belief. And believing in ourselves and understanding what we do is everything.
Oh, yeah. Of course, Donna knows I've got a warped sense of humor. Some people think it's a lack of sense, but it's really just warped. Now, this is way back before COVID. This is in the late 90s. And I got on an airplane there, boarded an airplane, a 737 there in Houston. And that's back when the pilot be there and doors open. Hey, how you doing? And we had a female pilot. And of course, I was in a good mood. And I looked at her and said, wow, you mean they let women fly airplanes now? And she started laughing. I said, if we don't watch out, they're going to let you girls vote too, And she cracked up laughing. But see, the point of it is that I was able to put a joyful laugh in her heart and spirit. Because just by my personality and the way I said it, she knew I was just having a little fun with her. And I remember I told her, I said, I better be quiet. Otherwise, you being a real woman, you may make me sit out on the wing with a folding chair. And again, she had a great laugh out of it. Right. And that's one of the things that we really need to work on is our laughter in our life. It's a very healing process. And whenever you get down, and we all have things that gnaw on us a little bit.
Right.
That's called life. But when you get down, learn how to laugh, learn how to share that joy. And that's what true leadership is too. Whenever you see tension in the area, learn how to laugh, inject some humor. And that just kind of like a relief valve. It really is.
Absolutely. And Jim, I think we're both on the same wavelength here. Do not ever be afraid to stand up for yourself, to know your value, to know as women in leadership and women in business, you have everything to offer. And you are uniquely you and designed on this earth to do what you do. So don't and if you're not sure, if I could just, and we're almost out of time, folks, but if you're not sure, what I would suggest is go to a couple people that you really, really admire and trust who know you and say, look, I would love if you could just give me a little help and write down 3 or 4 things that you feel are some of my best leadership qualities.
Yes, absolutely. And when you stand up for yourself, don't hesitate to say, May I ask a question? I want to get a little clarity on this. See,
Right.
that's not offensive at all. And
No,
the person that you ask is going to respect you for that.
absolutely.
They sure will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Jim, we are out of time. We have to go.
We could have said a lot more today if I hadn't stuttered so much.
So, we appreciate you being here with us, folks. And
Mhm,
remember, think about that wild card Wednesday,
mhm,
right? We really would like to honor you,
mhm.
and
Have
what
some
you
fun too.
absolutely, absolutely, and what you do. So,
Yeah. Be
please go ahead.
I was just going to say we're getting short on time. I've got to say, please be sure and love yourself. And you
Yes,
can love others. If you don't love yourself, you cannot give something to someone else you don't possess. And as Don likes to say, please give
give yourself
yourself.
grace.
Yes, forgive yourself. And most importantly, take care of yourself. Be good to yourself and bless you in all areas. We'll see you Monday. Have a wonderful weekend or whenever you see this. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye, folks.